Hey, so I realized I hadn't really been making videos in a while on cars because I get carried away working on stuff, and my red Spitfires had a lot of problems this year, but hopefully I think those are finally getting ironed out. Um, I'm gonna walk around, talk about what I've been doing, where things are at. You can see I do multiple things at the same time. Um, because like especially like if I'm welding this, I'm going like way slow. I'll do like I don't know a dozen or so tacks, then go do something over here for a while this is cooling down. Then come back to here, well that's some more um, grinding and so forth. Um, I got a couple of. I'm going to share my thoughts with how I'm doing stuff and why I'm thinking about certain things and. Um, I'm figuring this out as I go along. So if you got ideas, feel free to throw those in the comments. Um, I don't know, maybe past that timeline wise, but I'd love to hear other people's ideas too. So, let me turn this. Let's talk real quick about the bonnet, the fiberglass bonnet. So there's a lot of fitment going on with this. And so, for anyone who's ever done this or is wanting to do this, so I had cut holes here for the hinges to fit. I know they're not symmetrical yet. That fine tuning is going to go in later. This was just functional. So I had clearance with everything. And if we come over here at the frame, you see I've cut these little wings off on the sides so that I can have that clearance. I'm thinking this thing's going to be pretty lightweight, so I might put some kind of little air dam fins here on the bottom of each one. Add a little more downforce in the front. People are going to be like, no way, you can't do that. That's period not correct or whatnot, but I'm just making the car I want to make because I think it's great. Also, in here, this was a weak point I've noticed the bonnet, and so I did clamped it, bolted through, fiberglass over all of that. That's solid as can be. I noticed a little bit of a problem this side too, so this is something I just did a moment ago. Is I clamped here, drilled a hole, put a bolt, big washer, big head thing here, and I'm going to glass over that. The fitment is just, I've gone back and forth a million times. I'm still going to go back and forth. This side is in just a little bit here. I mean, it fits pretty well in the car, but I haven't fine-tuned door gaps. This one fits great. And if you see here, it lines up along here. And there were sort of holes. I'm going to have to fill in holes and other things as I make adjustments here that I kind of went by. I mean, like little bitty like dots in the fiberglass that looked like, oh, there was a hole here. But those weren't exactly accurate. So a lot of guessing back and forth and finally getting things. And this side is fitting a little bit tighter. But I just noticed it's not flush against here. So with these, so like for example, there was a spot showing me there was supposed to be a hole drilled there. And some of them, it goes vertical this way. That looks like that's what it was for. But this bar I got was off of a 1500 hood, so that. So I think what I'm going to need to do is scoot these all over that way just a bit to get this to line up better here. And then these last holes I haven't drilled yet. There's that. Down here with this one, it's tricky also doing this stuff as one person. I think I've got, yeah, so this is, it's level, but it's like, I'd say an eighth of an inch too far this way. And so I think I'm going to, again, maybe elongate these holes a little bit so I got some wiggle room and slide it over. Having these big flat plates makes it a little bit easier for having that wiggle room because it's like a big giant washer. And so yeah, adjusting fitment on this. It's getting there. I've got other things. Oh, other thing I was going to mention, I'm going to do here. So all these pieces that I cut out here, saved those, and I'm going to use those to create a flap here, fiberglass that in to secure this. So I think the more secure points, the better. The metal hoods have got some flex to them. I'm going to try not to have this the best that I can. All right, so coming back over to go to the doors. Replaced a lot of metal. Followed some ideas like from Fitzy's Fabrications that were great, and I was able to make this whole piece, which is really cool. So getting into metal in new ways. So replaced all of this down here. So this was, let's see, this was a piece, this was a piece, and then this was a piece. Then I cut, welded, and then grinding. Fit it to the car, and this was too far in, and so came through, cut, welded another strip in there. Things aren't perfectly flat, but just do body filler, and that's a hard spot to see, so it'll look good. There's gonna be more body filler in this car than I want, but I'm learning as I go, and it's really not that bad compared to like some of these other cars I got out here where it's like 1/2 inch thick in places and ridiculous. But there won't be rust. So there's that. And so everything should be fitting fine in here now. And then I'm gonna mount the door to the car. And I've still got some grinding to do on this edge here. So you see how it comes out just a little bit too far. That's on purpose because I'm waiting for the final moment to get it just perfect. All the other things fitting. Yeah, and so I'll grind that. Nice, smooth, perfect body lines. Well, relatively perfect. So back here, I'm working on the back. I filled in these fit really, really well. I'm getting a little bit better with this, although they're two-dimensional shapes, so that makes that a lot easier. And then filling in the holes around there, still working on that. Talk about some of my methods I use. So I'll use this as an example. Have my template, cut it out, and then permanent marker around the edges, and then put it up against the hole and fit it just where it was, is like how I liked it, and then scribed all the way around. So I had that scribe line and the permanent marker, and so grounded that, then tried to fit it, and then fine-tuned it a little bit. Really went way faster than anything else I've ever done with this, and fit like perfect. Super slowly welded that. Took like 2 days. Well, I don't know. One evening, one morning. Just because of going slow. Purposefully. One of my... Oh, where did it go? I'll show you. Flip back and forth so it doesn't get too boring looking at stuff. These have been like the best shop tool ever. So they're these cheap LED lights. They came in a pair. So like I'll be using one, the other one's charging up, and when this one starts to get a little dim, I just swap them out, and so they're great. And so what I'm doing is, let's see if I can do this. I can't. Anyhow, you'll have to pretend. So I'm welding. I got this one in one hand, this one in the other hand. So as I'm welding, I got my light shining down on it here. So that gives me a lot more brightness and visibility when I'm wearing that welding helmet that makes it so hard to see everything. So, and let's see, you can see I've been using it for a lot of welding, and this cheap little thing holds up great. It's like, I don't know, $10 for the pair. I've had them for a year, so totally worth it. Here's my tip with that. Got the engine block down here. Maybe I'll be getting to that in this next year. I think that most everything. Oh, nope. Over here on the trunk lid, I took the seam off of that, and oh yeah, here's another. This video's got all sorts of tips in here, how I did stuff. So getting rid of the seam was tough. Part of the difficulty is this bottom layer sits lower than the top layer, and you can see that reflected in here because I was grinding. I was starting to hit metal here, and I still had this huge gap here. So it's going to take some body filler, and that's just the nature of it. I still got some other metal to replace, but what I did was I cut out like that much section, like here, and then here, and then here, and then here.
with the wheel cut or angle grinder, and then welded that in, and then cut a little piece off of that on each one, welded that in, and so took probably like 20 passes, maybe not that many, but felt like it. Just doing a little bit at a time, and this seems to have stayed nice and straight. There's that mismatching there. This also went like a million times better than getting rid of this weld was the second one, or seam, and this one was the first one. I got a little too much heat into it there, and I think that's about the best I can do with that. That again is going to need body filler, but that's probably going to be the worst place in the car. Second worst is going to be down here, where I was also learning more with welding and got too much heat in. Do what I can with a hammer and dolly, but can't really hammer and dolly that because there's a metal support brace through the middle. I'm rambling. Here's the rest of the car. Got stuff in here. Inside the windows, front bay, frame's complete for the most part. Next steps is I've got to finish the trunk, mount that. I know some people are going to hate this too, but I got a back spoiler. I think I'm trying to make something low profile and just kind of simple, but doesn't look ridiculous or anything. But add some downforce because I've removed a lot of weight from the back. So this is a much more lightweight car, so I think it needs something. I've driven ones that are a little bit too light, and when they don't stick, they skirt around, and it doesn't feel safe. And so, yeah, I think of that. Mount that. Mount the door. Got the other door over there. Doesn't look too terribly rusted. But there is going to be some repairs on that. And once I got the doors in, then I'm going to work on... Here's all the door hardware. I'll clean this up, install it, and then I'm gonna work on making electric windows. So that's gonna be a cool video there. Hopefully I'll find some other videos other people have made that are really great about that. So get those going. Then there's the bulge for the hood. I gotta graft that in. Cut the holes, put in the latches, little bumps down there. Put in the headlight buckets, cut holes, make the vents, just like I did on my Spitfire. I've got a whole video on that. Like, it went beautifully. It was easy. That'll keep me busy and start putting all the stuff on the car. So, that's my, 13-minute ramble of just kind of what's been going on, what's happening. This is the project car. And, all right, that's all I got to say. Later.